This plugin truly is a cheat code for beginner colorists looking to achieve professional results. So Dehancer is a color grading plugin for DaVinci Resolve and iOS devices that allows you to get professional FILMIC looking results in a matter of minutes. In today's video, we're gonna be looking at some Sony log profiles, DJI log, and then we're also gonna be seeing what we can do with GoPro Rec 709 footage and see what that looks like. And then also in the iOS app, we'll be looking at iPhone photo and iPhone video as well. If you want to follow along with this video, DaVinci Resolve is still free. I have no idea how. It's an amazing software that you can download to edit your videos. And then also you can download Dehancer completely free just to try. A lot of creators that I know are switching to DaVinci Resolve or have already switched to DaVinci Resolve. So I wanted to see for myself if I was able to install Dehancer on it and learn how to color grade in just a matter of minutes. I had no previous experience with DaVinci Resolve, so I wanted to create one node and one node only to know if a beginner can simply install Dehancer and get premium looking results. Really quick, if you're finding value in this video, it would go a really long way if you could just leave a like. 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much, and let's dive back in. Before I share my screen with you and dive into a quick tutorial on how I did this in DaVinci Resolve, I quickly want to go over the 5 features that I thoroughly enjoyed the most in getting the final result that I was happy with. So feature number 1 is input, and essentially what it does is it takes your log profiles from whatever camera you're using and then it turns it to Rec 709 so that you're ready to put a FILMIC grade on it. Number 2 is just the amount of different film emulations you can get to customize the FILMIC look that you want. Number 3, they also give you different print options, and we'll go over that in a second, but it really does help you hone in that style that you're looking for as well. Number 4 is halation, and what this allows for is an orange or red hue around the lighting sources in your image, kind of like a halo of this red and orange, and it oftentimes looks really cool. And lastly, we have to be careful with this one, but I love the texture that grain adds to an image. What's really cool about this in the Dehancer plugin is that you don't have to globally adjust the grain. You can also adjust it just in the highlights or just in the shadows, and I really like that about the plugin as well. A side note is that once you're done with your grade in DaVinci Resolve, what I like to do is just right click and then screen grab, and that can give you a JPEG of your color graded footage from the video, and I really like that we had the ability to do this, so now we have a FILMIC looking image as well. Okay, that's enough talking. Let's dive into DaVinci Resolve and see what I was able to do with the Dehancer plugin. Alright, so here we are in Dehancer, and as you can see I have my one node only. I'm going to take the plugin, drop it on my node, and that looks pretty gnarly. So what I'm going to do here is choose my camera. I shot this with my DJI Mavic Air 2, so DJI. Then go to camera, you go Mavic Air 2S, sorry. I shot it on my 2S. And then format, I use log, and already we see quite an improvement, which is good. Then what I like to do is go to the film tab, and you just kind of gotta pick. There's a lot of different presets here that you can go from. I like Ektar 100. Looks pretty good to me. And then I also go right to print as well, because I'm trying to figure out my look, my overall look, before I adjust contrasts and brightness, whites and blacks. So let's look through here. A few of them are looking okay. Let's try the glossy paper. That's nice too. I like that greenish tint a little bit more. So let's go with, yeah, 2383. Happy with that. And now I have my base, so now I can start playing around with exposure. This was sunset, so try and get some yellows in here, some warmer colors. I can change my tint, so greens and magentas. All right, back to the film tab. I can push and pull the film emulation. This is the exposure value. Next, we're back to film developer, and what I can do here is I can change the contrast, maybe a little bit of a color boost, and I kind of like that blue that is coming out of the smoke there in the highlights. Film compression, yeah, I can play around here. I'm trying to get some dynamic range back. So if you see enabled versus disabled, you can see the mountain range in the back. I'm getting a little bit more dynamic range, especially as I play around with the white point as well and the tonal range, which you'll see in a second here. So I kind of like the look of this here. So my overall video is looking pretty good now, but if I go down to expand here, I can play around a little bit with the black and white point, maybe just to get my contrast and sharpness where it needs to be. So I'm kind of liking how this is looking, especially when I up the white point a little bit as well. Now we're back to that print module, so we can change a few things around here, but overall I kind of like how the Kodak 2383 is looking. Then we talked a little bit about film grain. Yeah, this is important, but unfortunately for this clip, on the drone clip, I don't love how it looks, and I'd like to preserve some of the quality, so we're gonna remove that. Then we're down to halation, which we talked about a little bit, maybe that orange and red kind of look in the highlights or bright spots of the image. For this here, I am liking what it's doing, so let's leave that enabled. Bloom also goes hand in hand with halation a little bit, so if you look at the whites of the images or the overexposed parts in the sky and in the smoke here, with bloom we can kind of make that look a little bit more dreamy. So if you want that dreamy effect, bloom often pairs well with halation. And the last thing I did for this drone clip is I went down to vignetting. You can change your center point here, but by enabling it, you obviously see that you're changing your exposure values and contrast levels a little bit. This plugin is truly so easy to use if you're trying for a filmic look, and what's more is that it also cleans up your node workflow and makes it less complicated for beginners to get that filmic look. So for the iOS app, it's equally as easy to use, and I'll show you some examples here that I did with my photography through an iPhone and videos through an iPhone to give it more of a filmic look. And I think this would be great for posting to stories or TikToks, things like that, because it has custom profiles that are so easy to just select and export, and that's what I love about it, the ease of use, and then you get an image that looks different than everyone else. The best thing about Dehancer for me is that coloring is difficult. We all can't be professional colorists, and there's so much that goes into the filmmaking and editing process that if we can outsource color grading as a beginner to a plugin like Dehancer and get the results like I did today, I truly think there's a lot of value in this. So as you can tell, I really like this plugin, and I definitely think it's worth trying out with the free trial and seeing how you like it as well. I wanted to thank the Dehancer team for reaching out to me and offering me a version of this, the pro version of this. No money changed hands in this video, and I just thought it'd be really cool to offer this to the subscribers on my channel. If it's something that you are already looking into, I can highly recommend it for DaVinci Resolve use and for iOS or on Apple devices.